Welcome, music lovers, to a night of rock and roll legends. Join us as we travel back in time to December 4th, 1956, for a brief look into the legendary Sun Records recording studio in Memphis, Tennessee. Million Dollar Quartet is a jukebox musical with a book by Colin Escott and Floyd Matrux. It dramatizes the Million Dollar Quartet recording session of December 4th, 1956, where early rock and roll country stars Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins recorded at Sun Studios in Memphis. The musical premiered at Florida's Seaside Music Theater in and around November of 2006, transferring in September of 2007 to the Village Theater in Issaquah, Washington, and finally to Everett, Washington by January of 2008. After the musical had a brief run at Chicago's Goodman Theater in September of 2008, the musical transferred to Chicago's own Apollo Theater, where it opened in October of that same year. By April of 2010, it was time for Broadway audiences to witness a whole lot of shaking going on when the musical opened its doors at the Nederlander Theater, running for 489 performances, and starring Mr. Eddie Clendenning, stage and film actor Lance Guest, Tony-winning actor and singer Levi Krause, American freelance drummer and percussionist Larry Lelly, and musical theater actor, playwright, and director Mr. Hunter Foster. The production also included Tony-nominated actress Elizabeth Stanley, who in the show accompanies Mr. Elvis Presley to the Sun Records studio and sings Fever and I Hear You Knockin', as well as providing backup vocals during the production. The musical would later go on to be nominated for 3 Tony Awards, winning 2, including Best Featured Actor in a Musical. The Million Dollar Quartet received mixed reviews from critics. However, the New York Times wrote, "There's a whole lot to like about this relatively scrappy variation on a familiar theme. Million Dollar Quartet has a pleasing modesty, taking place as it does on a single afternoon, December 4th, 1956, in the Rattletrap recording studio of Sun Records in Memphis. The actors portraying these pioneers don't just play the roles, but play the music too. Gifted musicians and likable performers, they tackle with no apparent discomfort the inevitable chore of impersonating some of the most revered names in pop music, from their slick pompadours right down to their frisky, agile fingertips." Now, fun fact, several notable performers have joined the Broadway cast of the show for the encore, including 3-time Grammy-winning artist Melissa Etheridge, rock and roll's first great wild man himself, Mr. Jerry Lee Lewis, 3-time Grammy nominee Leslie Gore, and frontman of the Western swing band Asleep at the Wheel, Mr. Ray Benson. By February of 2011, the production would transfer to London's Noel Coward Theatre, starring Coronation Street actor Bill Ward, British singer-songwriter Ben Goddard, Derek Hagan, British musical theatre actress Francesca Jackson, Robert Britton Lyons, and actor and musician from The Vampire Diaries, Mr. Michael Malarkey. In all, what happened that night back in December of 1956 captured the raw energy, infectious music, and unforgettable personalities of these iconic figures as they came together for a night of unforgettable music and camaraderie. Sam Phillips, the American disc jockey and founder of Sun Records, brought Jerry Lee Lewis, still unknown outside Memphis, to play piano. Johnny Cash arrived sometime earlier to listen in on the Perkins recording session originally scheduled for that day. Perkins, who by this time had already met success with Blue Suede Shoes, had come into the studio that day accompanied by his brothers Clayton and Jay, along with their drummer W.S. Holland, their aim being to record some new material, including a revamped version of an old blues song called Matchbox. Sometime in the early afternoon, 21-year-old Elvis Presley, a former Sun artist now with RCA Victor, arrived to pay a casual visit accompanied by his girlfriend Marilyn Evans. Elvis, the most nationally and internationally famous of the 4 at the time, would be the focal point of what was a casual, spur-of-the-moment gathering of 4 artists who would each go on to contribute greatly to the seismic shift in popular music in the late 1950s. And so, folks, our night with the Million Dollar Quartet comes to a very short end. Remember that the spirit of rock and roll will always live on. In the words of Jerry Lee Lewis, you shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will. Oh, what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.